Welcome to Palestine Chronicles in Depth. I'm Robert Inlakesh, your host, and today we will be bringing you a conversation with Palestinian resistance icon Leila Khaled. In this conversation, we discuss the course of the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the resistance to it, and much more. Thank you for being with us today, Leila. It's great to see you again, and it's an honor to have you here. I'd like to start off by asking a question more about current events, what is currently taking place now inside of occupied Palestine and in Lebanon. There's a sense from many after the assassinations and the killings of Yahya Sinwar and Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah of somewhat despair at the situation. It's now a year into the genocide in Gaza, and many people, I believe, do not have a historical understanding of the course of the conflict. You, for instance, lived through 1982 and what occurred back then, and the devastation of many at what happened. Can you tell us where we are today and how this fits into history?
This is a new history for the Palestinians and for the Israelis as well. But it's new for us that we began a road which is a continuation of our history. Our history is always, when there is occupation, there is resistance. And this resistance moved from one era to another in different ways. Like when we began after 1967, it was armed struggle. Then after 1982, and before that, in 1987, there was an intifada. And this is a historical one. It hasn't been done in any country before. And that intifada called for independence and freedom. But unfortunately, the leadership of PLO with Arafat went to another line, another road, which means that they signed Oslo Accords. And that was changing the history. And changing the history means that it will take place in a part in history of our resistance. But this did not last forever. Then another intifada. It was an armed intifada, Al-Aqsa intifada. This means that the Palestinians used their minds how to change things for our benefit. Yet, until now, we have seen 5 times wars against Gaza Strip by the Israelis from 2008 until 2021. 5 times. And our people sacrificed in all these wars by the Israelis. And that was because the Israelis think they should end the resistance. They were occupying also Gaza Strip, but after 2014, after the 5th time, the Israelis tried to suffocate our people and its resistance. This resistance has all the factions of the Palestinians who hold arms, like Al-Jihad also, like the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, and also other factions who held arms together after the resistance factions in Gaza created a room for not a room, I mean framework how to lead the intifada, not the intifada, I mean the resistance, and in which way it came as a result of accumulation of resistance and different kinds of resistance in 7th October 223. And it's still going on. Of course, the balance of forces is different this time because Israel asked for protection and the Americans directly came to Israel to support them, beginning with the visit of Biden, saying that he is a Zionist and he knows very well that we are against Zionism as well as imperialism because they are from the same category. So, and then Blinken came, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he has been going and coming for 10 times. All the time, United States declare we want to defend Israel because it has the right, that Israel has the right to defend itself. While this is not the formula for us, because who is the occupant? It's Israel, not the Palestinians. And we know that Sharon planned to leave the Gaza Strip because he felt that it's a source of worrying his head, because the Palestinians they are also a part of their people, whether in the West Bank or in 1948, or those who are in diaspora like us. So now this way of challenging all the plots done by Israel and America, and supported by also the West in Europe. All of them want to defend Israel, but they don't care about us. They don't think about us, even with all the massacres that Israel is and the atrocities and the massacres that we have never heard about before in history. There were massacres, but not this way. And until now, our people are suffering. Our people are killed every day, every morning and every evening. And Israel is still going on with its massacres. And until now, Israel is not punished for it. That's why we are looking forward more and more to end the atrocities of occupation, the Israeli occupation to our land. And our people are still clinging to the resistance, defending the resistance, even by the children are killed as sacrifices for our freedom. And they are still there because Israel now is looking for making the Palestinians leave Gaza Strip. Our people will not leave. We hear them every day. This land is ours. We lived here. We are not going to repeat the Nakba, the second Nakba. They mean, even if we are all killed, and they are still behind the resistance and what's going on until now.
We haven't seen the people in Gaza give up. Despite all of their suffering, all of their hardships, we see that they continue to strive to find any semblance of joy in their lives, and we also see that they are staying steadfast, especially in the north of the Gaza Strip at this moment. How do you see this situation, which has developed now with Lebanon and the war inside of Lebanon? Do you believe the Israelis will manage to pull off any successes? And do you have a comment on what has happened in their failure so far to invade southern Lebanon?
No, it's not only in southern Lebanon, it's against all Lebanon. The people, the country, and everything. They are targeting everywhere in Lebanon now, from the south to the north, from the east to the west of Lebanon, because the resistance in Palestine raised also the feeling that the Palestinians are not alone in their resistance against their occupants. Also, Israel occupied part of southern Lebanon after 2006, and until now it's occupied. So the resistance is in Palestine and in Lebanon. They are together against the occupants. It means Israel and its allies also, not only the United States and the Western governments in Europe and other people, other governments are still supporting Israel. Now, this is a weird thing. To me, I see it's a weird thing that Israel wants also to occupy more of the land. Biden once said the area of Israel as a state is small, so they have to expand. Where to expand? On the Arab land. And this means that any kind of resistance will stop this plot against our countries, whether in Lebanon or Palestine or anywhere else.
And how do you see the regional response from the people? For instance, in Jordan, where you are, how do you see the emotions of the people and their actions, what actions they've been taking? Is this growing? Are we seeing something bigger happening from the Arab public?
I don't think that our people in Jordan or in any other place, like the camps in Lebanon, in Syria, the Palestinians are united, even though if they are distributed here and there. They have one target, it's the liberation of Palestine, from the river to the sea, yes. And this slogan came out from the United States and people when they started to go to the streets to declare their support to the Palestinians and their right to have a state. They said, we don't want a state. Two-state solution, it's not a solution. It doesn't give the Palestinians their rights. And our rights are recognized by the United Nations, while Israel doesn't care about the the international community or the laws or the resolutions for the Palestinian cause. Yet, and because we have heard, and so Netanyahu speaking in the United Nations in September, and he showed a map of Great Israel, which means that they are planning to occupy more land from other countries like Jordan and Lebanon and Syria maybe also. What we have seen, it means that they have support from the imperialist United States Britain is just 2 days ago, and on the 2nd of November, it was the Balfour Declaration to establish a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. And they did it, supported by all these colonial states in their history who occupied all the Arab countries after the Second World War. So this means that the idea of resisting or resistance is now a part of our education, whether the Palestinians are in Palestine or outside Palestine. And they are always having touches or clashes with Israel in different means or in different eras, like what happened in Lebanon when in 1982 they attacked Lebanon to stop the Palestinian resistance and the Lebanese resistance as well before 1982, and we were out after that. So this means for me and for other people that this land is ours. We have the right to return to our homeland, and this is guaranteed by international law. And but now international law is violated by Israel and also its allies in the area, in our region or outside. But everyone now knows after 7th of October, this created an international intifada. We call it intifada of the peoples of the world because they began to know the facts of this long occupation for Palestine. They know now. Before, some people didn't hear of Palestine as a state. But now, after 7th of October, yes, the world realized that there is occupation and there is resistance. And always people are with the resistance of the people because whether they have freedom in their countries, they know that we don't have it. And they support us for that reason. Also, I think that what happened in the universities in the United States, and it went also viral in other universities of the world, this meant that the conscience of the people anywhere, it's raising up to the extent to support the resistance of the Palestinians and the Lebanese also. Now we have other supporters from the Arab countries in Yemen, also they support us. In Iraq, also they support us. And they are also targeting the Israelis wherever they are now.
And that environment of support is something that I believe is unprecedented in history, especially if we look at the size and the scope of the demonstrations in Western countries even. We know that from polling data in the United States that 1/3 of the population believe that the Palestinian people are going through a genocide. And now, of course, this would seem to many people around the world like, of course, it's obvious that there's a genocide in the Gaza Strip. However, for the population of the United States to believe something about this in such large numbers about the Israelis is rather unprecedented. And it means that the Palestinian cause has broken through into the popular level in the United States, like you noted with the university encampments, and in Europe as well, we saw the exact same thing. People are willing to sacrifice their careers in order to stand up for this issue. So there is a major shift there. How important do you think that shift is when we look at it together with the fact that right now the Israelis are experiencing a lack of not only support around the world, but also they're struggling militarily, they're struggling economically. How does this support around the world factor in to perhaps not maybe a solution tomorrow, but in the future, a solution and granting Palestinians their rights?
Now we are speaking about the the uh, the clash on the ground, and we see how much it is brutal to kill children every day. This is genocide. And until now, Israel is not punished for its crimes, war crimes every day in Palestine and in the West Bank as well, because they take people to the prisons to arrest people, they kill them in the streets, and so on. Until now, we have to work upon how this international law, the human international law, is violated. And there is a court for against a genocide. Until now, no resolution was taken until now. And lately, South Africa, who brought a case to this court, and lately they brought about 3,500 pages about new evidences that this is genocide, and the court did not accept it. Then we have to think that the jury, maybe they are pressured by, if we want to say it, it's by the Americans and Israel and the Zionist movement. So they will take the opportunity to say that Israel is the victim, and we are not the victims. How could that be believed? And everyone now with the social media, people can see the truth everywhere. You can see it in videos, you can see it in whatever size, even to show who is the occupant and who is the war criminals. It's not the children of Gaza, not the women of Gaza, not the men in Gaza. It's the hideous way of killing. Even they don't feel that they are human beings. They at the beginning, the Israelis said, we are fighting beast people. They considered us as beasts, but they are using all the kinds of weapons to kill and kill and kill. Now it's 1 year and 2 months. They are killing, and they did not stop at any time. Even when they go to negotiations in Doha or Egypt, they don't accept anything. Netanyahu considers himself a Caesar or emperor, and he is the king of Israel. He does not care about how the world look at him as the prime minister of a state which is going to fascism, because even the people there, they are supporting the war and supporting Netanyahu for all what he did and all what he is going to do. But we have trust in ourselves as a people who suffered 100 years ago, not only from 1917, when the Balfour Declaration established a state like Israel on our land, and through us from Palestine by force with their arms and their gangs when they made massacres also, because the ideology that they have from Zionism is to kill those who will stop you from implementing the project itself, that to establish a state for the Jews. And this is not because they are they want to defend the Jews. The Jews, as we know, in Europe, there was Holocaust. Yes, it's in Europe. It's not in our country or in another country, in Europe itself. And now Europe feels guilty from that time in the Second World War until now. They support Israel because they feel that they are guilty. And the Zionists always point at them that you made the Holocaust. And also they all the time, they in Israel, they celebrate the Holocaust, not celebrate. What do we say in English? Commemorate. Yes. And show always that it's not the Palestinians who made the Holocaust for them. It's Europe, the Nazis. So they came to our country and they are doing the same thing now. What we see every day, we see that they are also making not only a Holocaust, but genocide also.
And you spoke there as well about Netanyahu and his position, and you mentioned the ceasefire talks. If we look right now at the current state of the ceasefire talks, the Israelis are asking, they're making more and more requests. For instance, they want to stay inside of the Gaza Strip in Netzarim corridor and Philadelphia corridor. They've also carved out this portion of land surrounding the Gaza Strip inside of Gaza, constituting about 16% of the land. And now, obviously, they're implementing a plan in the north to take even more territory. They want relinquished land in these ceasefire negotiations. All they are seeking to do, or all they're asking for, is a prisoner exchange and then a continuation of the war. Similarly, inside of Lebanon, they want an amendment. They want to change UN Resolution 1701 to enable Israel to continue bombing. So are these ceasefire talks, or are these surrender negotiations, surrender terms that Israel's trying to impose? And do you believe these are genuine? Do they actually want a ceasefire, or are they just doing this for to show that they're trying to do something, they're trying to move towards a solution?
We know Israel very well now. We experience them also as they experience us always, that they don't look for any kind of ceasefire, or in the what they signed in Oslo was a process, a settlement that keeps them governing us. Now, in these negotiations, they always say, we want to release our prisoners. They don't think of 10,000 now in Israeli jails, and they don't care about them until now. Now, what is going on more and more vicious and war crimes in the north of Gaza? It's also a small part of it, and they want to make connect to what do I say the word? To take this part of Gaza as an area for them.
Annexation. They want to annex it.
Yes, yeah, to annex it to Israel. And they are leaving them with no source of life, no food, no water, no medicine, no hospitals, nothing. And now they are starving. Even some calls came out from different places from the UNRWA, from they, you know, that they drew a rule that UNRWA should stop working in Israel. But UNRWA is working not in Israel. These are camps after 1967, and it's by international law. This is a body that the United Nations found to help the Palestinians outside Palestine and inside Palestine as refugees, and to give them chance for work and relief. Now Israel is denying this, and they have a rule now in the Knesset. It's not only by the government only, it's by the Knesset. And then now we will see how the world will react to this. Because the UNRWA is supported by different countries because they thought about it, because there are still people in Palestine itself, and they are under occupation. Now, if Israel goes on like this all the time, to what range it will reach? What to reach where? To take more land, but there is resistance. And of course, now the resistance with its arms, whether in Palestine or in Gaza or in Lebanon or in Yemen, they have the enough arms to attack Israel, of course, because it's not until now. There should be a punishment for Israel for its brutal actions against our people. There should be also a respect for the Court of Justice in La Haye, which is not working the same way as they did in Rwanda and Yugoslavia. And they punished the people there, those who did the genocide in those two countries. But until now, as if they don't see what's going on. And they even don't want to have more evidence for that, because we heard from this court that anyone who has any evidence, either by videos or by photos or whatever, they can apply it to the International Court for Justice. Now we will see what will happen. Until now, I just put off the TV. There are really, they are doing horrible things to our people. But still, I call them and I speak to them. They say we are not leaving, because they know that Israel wants them to leave. But where to leave? They don't want to go to Egypt, and Egypt declared we don't accept. And also Jordan said we don't accept any kind of migration of the Palestinians. Then where to go? To the sea. There we have the sea only. But our people know how to go back to their homeland by still, they're standing on this land. They will not leave it.
And working with that about the rights of return, obviously you spoke about UNRWA there, which registers the refugees. You yourself, as someone who was with the resistance, who I think everyone watching this will know your commitment and what you did for the Palestinian cause. Was your motivation from your refugee status and from your desire to return home? How important was that in your actions, in your joining the resistance, and today in what you do, how important, how central is the idea of returning back to your home and your identity as a refugee?
It's injustice. When you feel that you are ruled by injustice, you have either to give up or to resist. As a people, now, I'm not saying about only one person, about myself. I dreamt of Palestine, whom I don't know until now. I just have it in my heart. Hassan Kanafani, you know this man, Hassan Kanafani as a writer, and he was in PFLP as a Politburo member, and also a novelist. He said, everyone in this world has a place called homeland. He lives on it, while the Palestinian is not like this. Without a home, they are homeless. Homeland, they don't have a homeland, but the homeland is built in their chest. And this is what happened to me, like any Palestinian who was forced to leave and lived a very miserable childhood. How can I forget? And I am in a family who is involved in politics years ago, from my sisters and brothers who are elder than me. And it was a law for ANM members, Arab National Movement, led by Dr. George Habash and Wadi Haddad and others. So I was in that atmosphere. At the same time, I have friends in the camps, also in the same school. We studied all together in one school, which was a tent. It wasn't a building, it was a tent. This is the first school I went to, which fell on our heads. We were children, 4 classes in that tent, very big one. And it fell over us in winter. So I came back home crying. This I remember very well. It was really very painful to feel that I don't live under a ceiling like all people in the world, but in a tent, which is very, very hard for a child to accept. And now I can imagine the children in Gaza now. I can imagine what pain they have now. Can they hold it? But sometimes we hear them speaking. We are not leaving Gaza. This is our land. This is our homeland. And we accept to die here also. The children and the elderly and everyone, the women. Yesterday, I heard a woman saying, we don't have now enough cloths to wrap the dead, the family. And we don't have a white one to declare our, we don't need it because we are not going to give up. This is very, it shocked me really. A woman is wrapping her sons and daughters and her husband, and then she says, there is no white one to give up in front of all these massacres. This is our people.
That's incredibly powerful, and I think how your experience relates to the people today, often that's something that I think about, even with these songs, the old songs that were produced, and now we see new songs coming through. The struggle is one, even though the situation might be different. The Israeli brutality, the methods they use might be different. The struggle does seem to be exactly the same in terms of that same feeling and experience that the people are going through. Thank you so much, Leila, for spending your time. Thank you for giving your time. And I hope that we can speak soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.